Good morning, everybody. Bubba Wall Street back with another focus list and watch list review. Before we get into it, let's just take a quick peek at the indices this morning. Obviously, market is under pressure once again, and the over weekend risk is real. One thing I've noticed with a lot of these military actions and big market movers is that the real risk is holding over the weekend. I've been hedging into each weekend. I think that's probably the best course of action. The one thing we have to keep in mind, again, you saw it yesterday when futures opened on Sunday. The markets were down pretty hard, and now we're recovering. Now, Thursday last week, I urged some caution into this zone right here, right between 684 and 686 on SPY. That was an excellent area to go short. That's where I had mentioned if you're going to go short, that's where you go short. And it was really simple. You had the 5, the 10, the 21, the 50. EMAs all right there, as well as the 618 retrace at 684.60. This market is setting up for a bigger move to the downside, in my opinion. The only thing at this point that can save it is a total de-escalation of the war in Iran and all of the strikes that are happening, in the Middle East. It's disrupting the flow of oil, and I hope we all don't find out how important it is to have oil. It's one thing to have $3, $4, $5 gas at the pumps. It's an entirely different world if this continues to go on, because we'll soon find out how important oil is, not just to the fuel that we use to burn for energy, but for everything else that is made. The supply chain risk is real. Now, let's start talking worst case scenarios in the short term. You saw I just dropped an anchored VWAP on the swing low of the April lows back in 2025. That's where we sold off from mid-February into the bottom of April. This anchored VWAP is your break even from that point. And you also see we have a 236 retrace at 645. So I do think if risk still remains real and we don't have any kind of resolution to this war in the next 1 to 2 weeks, then likely we're going to see a move down here to 645 on SPY. All right, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I'll probably go over a little of this in my pre-market video. On the Qs, we have the 200 SMA catching up right around probably 582. Sorry, that's not the 200 SMA. That's the swing low anchored view. I'm sorry, that should be purple. All right, get that fixed. Yeah, and we do have a 200 SMA that is we're sitting on that right now. We're below the 50. We're below all the moving averages. So I would not be surprised to see a quick flush down to 582 this week on the Qs. Again, as long as markets continue to remain under pressure. Now, let's talk about the focus list so we can talk about more important things. Now, the focus list we're going to pretty much throw out the window if things continue to escalate. When one market sells off, generally the entire market sells off in these types of scenarios. So what I'm really trying to illustrate here, and one of the main reasons why the focus list is 4 names this week, I'm not trying to overthink this. I'm not going to spread my attention across 10 to 15 tickers when it's very likely that not much to the upside except maybe oil and oil kind of derived names are going to move this week. But outside of that, I'm just going to keep an eye on the relative strength names as I've done over the last few weeks and months. AMPX had a multi-month breakout on Friday last week. Slight pullback this morning, but I did mention the pullback zone. So what I'm looking at here potentially is a 1-2-1-2 setup. Right, and inside our initial wave one move up here, wait for that to clear. It looks like a 1-2-3 triangle 4-5 and an ABC retracement. Looks very clean. I like clean setups. And you could see here potential 1-2, maybe another 3, maybe another triangle 4-5. Looking at 21-12 as maybe another leg up on AMPX. And again, if we pull back into this zone and get a nice bounce, somewhere between 1467 and 1577. All right, so that's a new one for this week. Another new one for this week is IPGP. What I'm looking at here is a 1-2-3 triangle 4. Now, 4s can play out a couple of different ways. It could be an ABC retracement. It could be an ABCDE. We'll have to be patient and wait. But what I like about this is it's an 118% rise, and so far it's about a 19%. It's not keeping in mind this morning. It's probably closer to like 21% pullback here. I'm looking at this as my reversal zone. Now, it is a pretty big reversal zone. So what I'm looking as I like to go back and see, is there any area that maybe shows a bit of support? You also have a gap here that was closed. So maybe right here. Right? Prior area of support turn resistance, possibly turn support again. That kind of aligns with this little zone here. We see with these two fibs, the green and the purple fib lined up. It's going to be a 50% retrace and your 1618 fib extension to the downside at 113.58. So I'm looking at probably around 111 to 113 really as a tighter kind of reversal zone right here. Probably somewhere here. So we'll see. Let's wait and see this week if we can get a reversal off that. And I think that might be a good area to take a trade. Iridium already positioned in, but want to continue to highlight its relative strength. Market selling off, and really not too much downside over the last few trading days, holding the 1021 cloud to the upside. So just keep a close eye on Iridium for the foreseeable next couple of weeks. If we get some kind of resolution, this is definitely a name I'm going to continue to hold and maybe add to moving down the road. And last but certainly not least, and you can kind of lump not only just MU, but STX and SNDK in this mix. They all kind of have similar setups. I just happen to like MU's a little better. The count is a little cleaner. You can see here 1, 2, 3, and a possible ABC move. So if we do get a flush on MU, I am looking at 311 to 399 as a possible area of support for a reversal. And that's if we don't recapture 367 this morning, which we're pretty much right there today. 366.53 is your downside support. We're slightly over that. If we get a bounce here, fantastic. If not, and we get the flush, then this would be an area of possible defense. And you can see the squeeze is setting up, but right now it's only maybe a week and a half of a squeeze, and for now momentum is shifting to the downside. That could easily turn this week and look like a slingshot by next week to the upside. So we'll just be patient here again and wait. So that's the focus list. Super short. That's what I'm kind of really going to be focused on this week, is just keeping the watch list and the focus list pretty thin. Because again, I don't want to spread my attention all over the place. I really want to be focused this week. We could talk about, some of the names that I highlighted last week. USO was one of them. Just an amazing move. This is the U.S. oil fund. You see the base that was built out from. Let's see. This is from March of 2022 till basically this week. And last week on March 2nd, this was Monday, I think I highlighted this on Tuesday into the 91.90 2022 highs, and then it just went absolutely vertical. I do think that there is a short opportunity going to present itself pretty soon on U.S. oil, and also I don't have access to that ticker, but I just think oil in general, with what's happening, and I think it's going to be really tricky. So if it's not a market that you're very familiar with, or how to trade it, I would stay away from it. But I do think, we're seeing kind of a parabolic move. I mean, just think about silver, right? And how it went on this kind of parabolic move from 62 to 120, and then just fell off the face of the earth. Kind of came a V-shaped recovery, right? And came right back down. But yeah, I do think, we'll probably have some sort of move like this on oil as well, and oil related names. So, as high as we go, I mean, this got to be like, what, a 50% move in 2 weeks, 76% move in 3 weeks, from the base breakout. It was a 60% move in a week. So, this is not normal. Not for any market. So just be mindful of that. Be mindful of chasing these types of parabolic moves to the upside, because it's great if you can catch it early, and it's great if you have the discipline to trim on the way up. Just don't be, the person that's going to be like, well, this is already up 60%, I'm going to buy here. And then you get whacked on your head on the way down for the rest of the week. So that's what I got for the watch list. And then, again, the brief SPY Q overview. I'm going to go a little bit more in detail on that in the morning review video this morning. Just wanted to highlight the focus list and just talk a little bit about what my plan for this week is, and really in a nutshell, if I'm going to sum up this video in a few words, it's just be patient. Just be patient. We've seen this story before. If you've been in the markets for at least a year or two, just think back to last February to April, and that drawdown, eventually it bottomed, and we saw a monster run from April till November. So I'm not saying that is what's on the horizon, but certainly is a possibility. And if it is, we will be ready for it. So take care, be patient. I'll be back in another video shortly.